Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how to fit post mount calipers using your GRX road shifters. So if you've got an older bike and you've got, or a bike in general, and you've got post mount calipers and you didn't want to buy the brackets obviously to use the flat mount calipers with the post mount frame, then I'll show you how to get around that using post mount calipers with your GRX hydraulic shifters. So let's go ahead, let's take a look. So with the GRX shifters, obviously you get your calipers, hydraulic calipers with hoses like that. But if you've got the post mount frame and you don't want to purchase the flat mount adapters, which can be expensive, to convert it to flat mount from post mount. So that's a flat mount caliper, as you see the GRX, but there's a post mount caliper. So what we're going to do is take this off of here and swap it for the post mount caliper, that being exactly the same as it would be with this. So we remove that bung out the end of there, and we'll put this in so we can use the post mount caliper instead of the flat mount. So it saves buying the brackets to convert it, whereas this caliper is cheaper to buy this caliper than it is to buy the brackets to convert it in this instance. So that caliper there is MT410, that's the caliper it is. It comes with the pads and everything and the bolts. So what we do out of this caliper is remove that bung in the end there where the hose goes in and the nut goes on, like that, out of the way. And then if you get a 8mm spanner on that nut on the GRX caliper there, and remove that out of there. And then pull it out. Obviously this is new, unused. So what we do is put that into there. Make sure you're not cross-threading that or anything when you put it in. Make sure it's going in as it should without cross-threading it. So once you've got it started, just wind it in like that, and then I'll just nip it up, and then we'll check it when it's actually mounted on the bike. Just nip that down for now, like that, and obviously check that it's not leaking when you're doing the brake bleed out of there or anything. You don't want to really over tighten that, because you just crush the olive in there too much and then it will just leak. So it's best to check it when it's installed on the bike, like we will. And then obviously this end goes straight into your caliper, your lever, sorry. That'll go straight into your lever. And then, so we swap that over now to the post mount caliper. It's easy as that to do. We'll get this installed and get it bled up. So we got the calipers on the hoses there. So what I'll do is I'll just show you that that's the pad out of that 410 caliper. It's a post mount caliper. So what I'll do is I'll just take the pads out of here so you can just see the difference. So there we have the GRX pad, you can see, with the fins on the top of it like that. And here we have the pad that I've just removed out the other one, the 410 post mount. So as you can see there, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but this pad is bigger surface area than the GRX one for a start, as you can see. So it's a larger pad. And what you've got to remember is these calipers, GRX caliper, doesn't matter what it is, could be a Dura-Race, could be GRX, could be Ultegra on these flat mount calipers like that. Use the same size pistons, exactly the same as that post mount caliper. piston diameter and size, they're exactly the same. So there's nothing to be gained by any extra force or anything like that. The hose is exactly the same, and the pistons are exactly the same, except the pad area on this one is actually bigger than on that flat mount one. So will the braking performance be any better or worse, etc., with this on there compared to that? No, it won't make any difference. So now we've got the hose installed in there. We've done the 8mm nut up on that, and what you want is 2.5mm on here. Just make sure yours is a 2.5mm hex, because some of them could be a 2mm, just depends. So that's 2.5. Just undo that, remove that cap for the bleed reservoir there, and then what we need to do is screw in the cup. So we've got the adapter on the bottom for these type of levers, the road, effectively GRX road levers, like that. So we just get that screwed in like that. You just nip it up by hand. It's got an O-ring on it, so it will seal on there like that. And then what we'll do is put some of the mineral oil in that cup. Like that. And then we'll go to the caliper end and show you that end. So that's the cup on there with fluid almost filled to the top. At the moment it's still got there's a plunger in the middle of it, like that. You see, that's still in there in position. You can go ahead and just pull that out, won't make any difference, so I'll just pull it out. Just lets the fluid in, like that, so we're ready to bleed it. So you can remove that. So on the caliper, you got where your bleed hose goes on there under a little rubber bung. Just need to pop that bung out of there, like that. So just remove that, and then all we've got is a hose with a bottle attached like that. Just push that into position on the bleeder there, and then with your, in this case it's a 3mm hex for the bleed point itself, so that goes in just there to crack it undone. So being as the bleed cup's full, you can undo that. You don't need to undo it very far at all, because if you undo it too far you pull air in through the actual hex head here. So you just want to crack it undone, literally a turn. So that's undone. If you leave it undone, eventually gravity will, as you can see, fluid will start coming down. So we just left that undone. We haven't touched anything, but there's fluid coming out of there, out of the hose, into the hose. So see it going down there. So if you leave it undone, eventually what you'll see is air will start coming out of there after quite a time. So it's basically gravity bleeding itself in a way, because you've got the cup full up. So if you just keep an eye on the cup, eventually the cup will start going down and bubbles will start going down there, like that. So it doesn't bleed itself, but it helps push the fluid through without you pushing on the lever or anything. So you can leave it and just keep your eye on it for 5-10 minutes, and gradually the fluid will go down. It won't bleed it, but it just helps get the fluid through, so you know you've got fluid going through that line. that's effectively empty. So what we'll do now is, so you can leave it like that, but what we'll do to bleed it up properly, make sure you've got a decent lever, is we'll just close that off. So that's just closed like that, and all we'll do is go up to the lever, and then we'll pull the lever as though we're pulling the brake on. At the same time as I pull it in towards the handlebar, I'll undo this as I'm pulling it in. So as I go to pull it in, I'll undo this. So undo that, pull your lever as you see a load of air, and then shut that back off and let go of your lever. And then open this again, pull your lever like that, shut this off, let go of your lever. So simple as that. Undo, pull your lever, shut this off, let go of your lever, like that, and just keep on doing that. And then your fluid obviously go down in your bleed cup. So when it's, before it reaches the bottom, make sure you fill it back up again. So all I do is literally, using this bottle, I'll just unscrew this bottle off of here and tip the fluid, because obviously it's a brand new system. I'll tip the fluid back into the bleed cup before the bleed cup's empty. So we just do that. We just keep on doing that until you get, probably have to run 2 or 3 or more cupfuls through, just to make sure you get all the air. You can see there's loads of air in it. So just do that, like that, and as you see, loads of air will keep coming through, because this is a rear one, so you got obviously got a longer hose run for the rear. Now I'll shut it off like that, and the cup is almost empty. There's only a tiny bit left in the bottom. You don't want to run it out, because obviously you introduce air in if you do that. So all I'll do then is just unscrew this bottle like that. I'll quickly show you it like that. There. I'll tip that back in the bleed cup. And then I'll put the bottle back on again. Just screw it back on. So screw that back on, and then again I'll just do the same thing again. Undo it like that, just keep doing the same thing again until you get all the air out. And also I'll point out that I'm not using a bleed block in the caliper. I've just got the pads in there. So if you can use a bleed block by all means, if you're frightened of spilling any of the mineral oil over your pads and then ruining your brake pads. But like I said, you don't need to spill anything anywhere. It won't make a mess at all if you're doing it properly. So I bleed it with the pads in there, simply because that's how you ride the bike. It's got brake pads in it. If you use the bleed block, when you've used it, you pull the bleed block out, and then you put your pads in, and then you pull your lever and find that it goes right back to the handlebar, because obviously you don't ride with a bleed block in there. So always bleed it with the pads. You can do it how you want to do it. I'm just showing you like this. So that's the second cup, basically empty. As you can see, there's still air coming out. Even if it's minute bubbles, it's still air in there. So we just repeat it again until we get a good lever. So like I said, you might have to do it a couple of times, you might have to do it 4 times, whatever. It doesn't matter how many times you have to refill it. It makes no difference. You just do it until you got a decent lever. There's no right or wrong to how many times you have to do it. Right guys, so now the bleed's complete. All we can do is just pull off the hose off of there and put the little rubber bung back in where it should go, and then that will complete that. And then obviously what we've got to do is spin the wheel, hold the brake on, after you spun it, hold the brake on, tighten these down, stop it if it's rubbing, at all on there. And then at the lever end, all we do is, before we unscrew that, if you've got a bit of fluid left in there like that, which you should have, then you just want to put that plunger in, which I'll get hold of, put that in there to seal that off before you remove the cup. And then we can unscrew that out of there and put in the reservoir cover on the top. So when you remove the bleed cup, what you want to do is put that cap back on. Don't wipe anything off there or remove any fluid, just leave it as it is, straight, remove the cup and just put this cover straight on there, and then tighten that up. And when I mean tighten it, I just mean just nip it up like that. That's all you got to do. If you get tempted to tighten that like that, all you'll do is strip the threads out of it. So all you got to do is just nip that up, literally with no pressure at all, and that's tight enough. Then you can wipe away any excess fluid if there is any before you put your hood back on. So obviously everything's fitted up now, so the brakes absolutely how they should be, like that. Work no different to it if it had flat mount calipers on there. Absolutely no difference in the braking at all. Levers feel exactly the same. See, there's the calipers. What you got to do is, obviously after you've done the bleed and everything, just double check your fittings, etc. Make sure you haven't got any leaks coming from there or the ones coming out of the back of the levers. So just double check those, make sure, especially before you go and wrap your handlebars or anything, just in case you've got a leak anywhere. You know, you can always just nip it up a little bit more if you have. So like I said, they work exactly the same. Feel is exactly the same on them. Don't feel any different, you wouldn't know. So that's how you obviously fit your, if you've got a post mount frame like this and you want those calipers post mount with the shifters, say if you had road shifters even, or these GRX shifters, to get around that problem, that's how you do it. Right guys, so I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.